In this video tutorial, I am going to discuss about poly A tail of eukaryotic mRNA. If you examine mature eukaryotic mRNA, you will find that on the 3' end, there is a poly A tail. That means multiples of adenine nucleotides are there. Multiples of adenine nucleotides are there on the 3' end. So, this is the 3' end. The length of this poly A tail is approximately 80 to 250 nucleotide long. These 80 nucleotides are seen in yeast and 250 nucleotide long poly A tail is seen in the human. Now, what is the function of this poly A tail? This poly A tail, it binds with many monomeric units of poly A binding protein. So, these are the monomeric units of poly A binding proteins. Poly A tail binds with multiple monomeric units of poly A binding protein, which is also known as PABP, and forms one ribonuclear complex, ribonucleoprotein complex. So, ribonucleoprotein complex. So, now whenever any RNA makes up a complex with some protein, we call it as a ribonucleoprotein complex. Now, in our system, in our body, there is one enzyme that is known as 3' exonuclease. What this 3' exonuclease does is, any nucleic acid which is lying nascent, from the 3' end, this enzyme will start digesting it. It will remove one by one nucleotide from the 3' end. So, what will happen? Ultimately, this whole chain of nucleotide gets destroyed. But whenever something is in such a complex, and especially with the PABP, that is poly A binding protein complex, this 3' exonuclease cannot act on that. So, this poly A tail, it helps in this mRNA to protect it. So, what this poly A tail does? Poly A tail, it protects mRNA from 3' end, and it protects it from 3' exonuclease. From the 5' side, we have already a cap structure, and regarding the cap structure, I had already discussed in the previous video. So, 5' exonuclease is prevented by this cap structure, and 3' exonuclease mediated digestion is prevented by this poly A tail, as poly A tail has specific affinity with the poly A binding protein. Now, this poly A is very, very important in our mRNA, in eukaryotic mRNA. Now, you might think that just like all this nucleotide in the mRNA chain, this chain may also be get transcripted from the DNA, but no, it is not true. This chain of the DNA is transcripted, it is synthesized based on the template DNA. Whereas this part of chain, this poly A tail, it is not synthesized based on information provided by template DNA. No, this is synthesized independently once transcription is over, once pre-mRNA is formed, and then after that this chain is added. Okay, so we need to understand what is the mechanism, by which mechanism this poly A tail is added into mRNA. So, now mechanism of poly A tail formation. To understand this poly A tail formation, we have to first look into this transcription process, then only we can discuss it. Suppose this is the double stranded DNA which is undergoing active transcription. Okay, so let's show transcription also here. This is newly synthesized mRNA, which is still on other end, it is still undergoing onto the transcription. And this is the RNA polymerase enzyme, which is bound at the site of active transcription. And as this is the mRNA, this enzyme is RNA polymerase 2. As we all know that RNA polymerase 2 synthesizes eukaryotic mRNA. In this mRNA, this is the 5' end, and this is the yet synthesizing 3' end. In this mRNA, there is one highly conserved sequence, that is AAU AAA sequence. This sequence is highly conserved, even in between the species also this sequence is highly conserved. Whereas other sequence is there which is lying somewhat over here, which is rich in U and G, UG rich sequence. So this one is highly conserved sequence. It is found in all the mRNAs, and this UG rich sequence, it is somewhat less conserved, seen in many different mRNAs. Okay, these two sequences are there. In this RNA polymerase II, this tail like structure, it is C-terminal domain, C-terminal domain of RNA polymerase II. It is also goes by short form CTD, and this CTD is phosphorylated. In the phosphorylated state of this C-terminal domain, it binds with one protein known as RTT103. So it binds with one protein, its name is RTT103. This RTT103 recruits one more protein, and this protein is, its name is RAT1, RAT1 in yeast, and the similar protein, the structurally similar protein which is known as XNR2, it is found in human. So if you are discussing about yeast, it's a RAT1 protein, and if you are discussing about human, it is XNR2 protein. Both are structurally and functionally similar. Basically, they have endonuclease activity. Endonuclease activity. And once these things are there in the place, there is one enzyme complex is there, so which recognizes this AAU AAA sequence, which is highly conserved across all the mRNAs. So this enzyme complex binds with it. On one side, it is in contact with this highly conserved sequence, on another side, it is in contact with RNA polymerase II. So this green colored marked complex is the enzyme complex. It has several enzymatic activity. Enzyme complex. Now what happens? This enzyme complex has several enzymatic activity in its structure. The first activity is endonuclease activity. Endonuclease activity. Now here it's my mistake, it's not endonuclease activity to this RAT1 and XNR2, it's a exonuclease activity. Please correct it. It's exonuclease activity, and it's a specifically a 5' exonuclease activity. Okay. So now let's move this discussion further. This enzyme complex has one activity, that is an endonuclease activity, which is shown over here. So this enzyme complex, which is on one side, which is bound with highly conserved sequence, on another side it is bound with this RNA polymerase II. The second enzymatic activity which contained in this enzyme complex is the poly-A polymerase. Poly-A polymerase activity. And third thing, it also contains, this enzyme complex also contains several other proteins. So now once this enzyme complex is bound with this portion of the RNA and RNA polymerase, what it will do? First, it will carry out its endonuclease activity. It will put up a cut on this newly synthesized RNA on somewhat on this side. Now this is not any arbitrary or random location. This location is very specific. Now specific in what matter? That from this conserved sequence, at approximately 10 to 30 nucleotide downstream, or you can say 3' side, and from this less conserved sequence, approximately 20 to 40 nucleotide upstream, that is on the 5' side. So based on the address provided by less conserved sequence and highly conserved sequence, this endonuclease activity of this enzyme complex will put up a cut on this mRNA at this location. So now what will happen? That this portion of RNA is separated from this complete assembly. So let's draw this both assembly separated. So one piece of RNA, this piece of RNA which is AAU AAA conserved sequence, this is 5' end, this is 3' end. So I had drawn this much piece of this RNA which is still bound with enzyme complex. So let's draw the enzyme complex like this. So now this enzyme complex is not in contact with the RNA polymerase II. So once this enzyme complex loses its connection with the RNA polymerase II, at that time what will happen? Endonuclease activity will get suppressed and poly A polymerase activity will come into the action. So now based on the poly A polymerase activity, what it will do? It will start adding multiples of adenine nucleotide at the 3' end of this RNA. So it adds multiples of adenine nucleotides at 3' end. How the multiples of adenine nucleotides will be added? So as a raw material, it will utilizes the ATP, and this poly A polymerase, what it will do? It will remove its 2-phosphate, 2 inorganic phosphates are removed, and the left out adenine monophosphate, this nucleotide will be added at this location. So more and more adenine nucleotide will be added, and meanwhile this protein complex, this enzyme complex will move into this direction. So on an average, as I told you earlier, 80 to 250 nucleotides will be added before this enzyme complex leaves this piece of RNA. What happens to this other part which was left out once this piece of mRNA is left? So let's draw the remaining piece. So first we'll draw the DNA, double stranded DNA. Small piece of RNA is still in contact with this actively transcribing assembly, that this much piece of RNA is still left out. So this much piece of RNA is still there in the contact, and of course this is rich in UG. Okay, now the two consensus sequences are separated. There is still enzyme is there, that is RNA polymerase. This is C-terminal domain of RNA polymerase II enzyme. So this is RNA polymerase II, and this is the phosphorylated C-terminal domain which is phosphorylated. And this C-terminal domain is in contact with two proteins that I told you earlier. One protein is RTT103, which is bound with phosphorylated C-terminal domain, and in turn this RTT103, it recruits one more protein, that is RAT1 in case of yeast, and XNR2 in case of human. So either it can be a RAT1 or XNR2 based on the species, RAT1 for the yeast and XNR2 for the human. And I also told you earlier that they have 5' exonuclease activity. So what will happen? Earlier this 5' exonuclease activity was also was there, but the 5' part of the RNA was not accessible to this enzyme. But as the cut is now over here, this enzyme can now act on this portion of the RNA, so which is visible in this case. Now this exonuclease activity can carry out its action on this, as this is a 5' part of the RNA. So what will happen? This RAT1 or XNR2 will digest this RNA polymerase one nucleotide at a time. Okay, so it will move slowly on this direction. Meanwhile, RNA polymerase II is also moving into this direction, but the speed is slow over here, whereas the activity of this RAT1 or XNR2 complex is very, very high. It is highly processive enzyme. So the speed is going to be very, very fast. So ultimately, eventually what will happen? This RAT1 or XNR2 comes into the contact with RNA polymerase II at this location, at its non-C-terminal domain part. And so once RAT1 contacts the RNA polymerase II, what will happen? This RNA polymerase II will go away. It will lose its affinity for this DNA. It will move away. So now there is no RNA polymerase II. Rest of the RNA will get digested by this RAT1 or XNR2, and the DNA gets separated. And this is how actual termination of transcription occurs. Termination of transcription occurs. So you can see this is very, very interesting thing. On one side, mRNA is not yet fully synthesized, still termination occurs. Or in other words, you can see that termination and polyadenyl tail formation both are a simultaneous process. One might think that as the poly A tail is added on the 3' end, so it must be after termination. No, it is not like that. On one side termination is occurring, and on another side there is a formation of poly A tail. Now coming back to this enzyme complex. We had also talked that there are several other proteins are there. What are these several other proteins? So we will write over here several other protein. One is the cleavage factor 1 and cleavage factor 2. These two proteins are there which helps this endonuclease activity. It helps in endonuclease activity. Then there is one more protein that is known as CPSF. This CPSF, its full form is cleavage and polyadenylation specificity factor. So it's a cleavage and polyadenylation specificity factor. And the function is it helps in the identification of this highly conserved sequence. So it specifically identifies the AAU AAA sequence, and its other function is it helps in poly A polymerase enzyme. This CPSF factor also helps in the poly A polymerase activity. The third group of important this other protein is cleavage stimulation factor, or its short form is CSTF. Its full form is cleavage stimulation factor. And this cleavage stimulation factor, it recognizes the second consensus sequence, that is UG rich sequence. So it identifies U plus G rich sequence, and it also helps this CPSF protein. It helps CPSF protein, and this CPSF in turn helps this poly F polymerase function of this enzyme complex. Okay. And regarding this CPSF and CSTF, both binds to the C terminal domain, which is not shown in this diagram, but remember this both can binds to C terminal domain of RNA polymerase 2. And the last but not the least is the poly A binding protein 2. Poly A binding protein 2, remember this poly A binding protein 2, it is different from this protein, this poly A binding protein, that is PABP. This is another protein, poly A binding protein 2, it is another protein which is lying in this enzyme complex, and the function of this poly A binding protein 2 is that it binds multiple copies of this PAB2 protein. It binds to a poly A tail, multiple copies binds to growing poly A tail. Once poly A tail forms, while poly A tail is still growing, at that time PAB2 protein binds, but once poly A tail formation is complete, after that PABP, that is poly A binding proteins, will bind. Okay. So here very important difference is there. PAB2 and PABP both are not same. That I want to say. So what is the role of this binding of this PAB2 to this growing poly A chain? Actually this determines, or this determines the final length of poly A tail. It determines final length of poly A tail. So this is all about poly A tail formation and its usefulness in the eukaryotic mRNA. If you have any query or confusion, please write it down in the comment section below. Thank you.